Hello, hi, I'm Kim Macleod and from Indie Authors World, and I'm here today with one of our lovely authors, Judith Te Huia, who is in Australia. So, good morning or good evening to you, Judith.
Good morning and good evening.
Yeah, we've had quite a few kind of Skype chats over the last few months, and we sometimes get the times a wee bit mixed up when we're trying to connect with one another. Yeah, I think we managed to get it wrong by a day once. So.
Oh dear.
Yeah, the joys of international, working. That's the thing now. Technology is great because years ago we wouldn't have been able to do this sort of chat. But yeah, I have to try and keep my head around what time zone we're in. So today we wanted to have a wee chat with you about your fabulous new book, The Toolbox, which I have. Here we go. I have sitting here.
Oh, good.
And we're just going to have, just like I said, one of our informal chats, find out a wee bit more about the book and how how it's coming along for you. And we're going to share one of your tools, at least, that's in there, with an idea maybe for some of our other authors, maybe be inspired by it, but also maybe for anybody else who might get a chance to watch this, who might think about using some of the tools. So can I ask you, what made you come up with this idea? Why this book?
It's really hard, isn't it? I'm a counsellor, so I do work with women who sometimes I've found really struggle with just balancing work-life issues. Mm-hmm. And I think actually when you think about the toolbox for life's little emergencies, maybe that's what it's really all about, just for those life little emergencies. And I kept thinking when I had my counselling clients would come in, I kept thinking the same things seem to be arising. Same little issues keep coming up. So I thought, okay, maybe it's time I actually put this in book form and let's look at where this goes and let's see what I can come up with around that. So really, basically, that's how it started. And then it got shelved.
As so many projects do, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Until I met one of the lovely ladies who's in one of the classes I run, who had a look at it and said, you need to get going on this again and get it out there. Yeah. So really, it probably would still be on the shelf if it wasn't for Audrey.
Yeah.
Who really pushed very hard to, make it happen.
Yeah. And I think we find that with so many of the authors that we work with. Yeah, you have to have a why. I talk about the big why to finish it as well and get it out there. And you need somebody to be supporting you through that journey as well, don't you? To going to be, the one that's going to be on your shoulder saying, come on, yeah, you can do it, and get it out there. So
that's so true. And I just think sometimes you can be really enthused about doing it and then you get to that point with it and you go, right. And like we all do, we'll just have that block and think, well, I don't know what else I'm putting in here and I don't know where I'm going. And yeah, absolutely right. You do need support.
Yeah. So how has it felt now that the book's actually here? You've got it and it's out and it's on sale.
It's absolutely brilliant. When it first arrived in the post, because we all know that was a bit interesting because it arrived just not long before the book launch. And it was like, hey, we've got the launch, but no books. What are we doing? That's quite funny. But just really, really amazing. And I cannot believe how well it's actually doing. I think it's got a life of its own. For a while, I think that we thought that it was going down one road, and then we've found that it's actually really quite broad and that it's for a lot more people than I thought it was going to be helping with. And so that's really exciting.
Yeah. Because I know that we had the conversations early on as well about when you were kind of feeling a wee bit lost about the direction that the book was taken. And I often kind of speak with people around being clear about who the book is for. You're writing it for, you know, a specific sort of person. It's always best, I think, if you've got that person in mind. But it's never only going to be for them, because once it's out there, other people will find it. And as you said, that, you know, the tools that you've produced are useful for anybody, really. You know, but although it was aimed at, you know, at women in particular, but you know, it's useful. And like I said, it's taken a life of its own. So
it has just gone off on its own little journey. Sending your child out into the world, finding its own way, really.
Yep. And that's what, you know, Sinclair has often talked about, the whole process of writing being like having a baby, you know. So your baby's now out there and now starting to toddle, and and you have to just let it loose a wee bit. So which is really interesting. It's really good. You don't know quite where it's going to go. So
No. It's certainly, yes. It'll be interesting to see where it does end up, because I just think there are many avenues that we're looking at where it could actually be placed. You know, we're not just talking about just putting it on the bookshelf. It's more about where could it go, what places could it go to really help and be there for people who need it.
Yeah.
You know, just help them get over that little hump in life and be able to use it.
I think one of the joys of your book is that the tools are really simple to apply.
Yeah.
You know, and we talked before about, you know, because we've had some laughs kind of during this process of developing this book, about the, you know, particularly around kind of meditation and, you know, that those kind of mind techniques, that you didn't have to be kind of sitting cross-legged on the floor for hours and humming. You know, it was people who might not understand some of this woo-woo stuff that might be a wee bit out there, but make it really practical so it could gear them towards, you know, a lot more than just what they might have used before to kind of deal with kind of stress and anxiety issues. So
absolutely. And today, I'll just tell you this little story. It's about one of the one of the men that the book has gone to. The book seemed to be like, we've got this thing, pass it forward. This is what seems to be happening. People will have the book and then they're sharing it with others.
Yeah.
And one of the things, his comment was that he might get help in where he goes, you know, to get his help, but having the book actually with him, he can look at, work with on the time when he might be struggling, and he just finds that really, he found it simple. Its simplicity really helps, and he finds that is something that he's just found really worthwhile. So that was really good feedback from someone. So yes, I was quite pleased about that.
So what would be the first tip that you would give someone when there's, you know, if someone's struggling a little bit with, and it's the general overwhelm of life, really, isn't it? You know, it doesn't have to be that you're having a major kind of crisis or anything, but it's just that kind of general busyness. What's your first tip that you give people?
One of the things I think it's worth really looking at, it's a part of when we're really busy, when we just get overwhelmed with work, when we're in that space of not having enough time for ourselves, it's really, I think, sometimes taking a step back and just looking at us. You know, if we don't look after ourselves, how can we look after anyone else?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, and that is women and females, and I'll say for males too, who look after children or are carers or anybody like that. It's like, if we don't look after ourselves, then we cannot be there for others. So taking that step back and looking at, what do we need for us? What do we need for us to be able to, you know, find a place where we're happy? Sometimes it can be just looking at maybe what we need for now, and that could be finding a place to just be for a moment and not have all that busyness and stuff going on around us. Just step back. Yeah. When we're in a place where everything feels like it's overwhelming and we can't, you know, the negative thoughts and start coming in, is find one thing that's positive in your day and really focus on that, changing that thought pattern.
Yeah.
Because that changes everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, totally agree, Judith. Totally agree. It is when when you're having a bit of a bad day, it can be easy to think that the whole of your life's terrible
Yes, absolutely.
because you're surrounded with this black cloud. So and we've talked about this before as well. I think especially when you were writing the book and we were putting the book together, we were looking at the busy mum really who was juggling with everybody, with the family, with the partner, with the house, with work, um, and being able to take that time out and give yourself permission to have that time out.
Absolutely.
Because as you said, you can't deal with all of that if you're not filling yourself up. So
no, and it's so true, isn't it? Because often you can't give yourself permission. Well, you don't feel like you deserve to have that time.
Mm-hmm.
But then realizing when you do take a bit of time and come back into your normal everyday life, that you've got more energy, you feel more positive. It's so important. It just is so important.
Yeah. So the toolbox for life's little emergencies, right? I love it. I love the cover that we came back. I'll kind of hold up here, hopefully people can see it, because we had quite a debate over the cover, and but I think that woman on the front cover just says it all, really. She's so into your book.
And how many people look at it and go, I can relate to that.
Yeah, because the reality is we've all been there, at some point, with what do I do next? Where do I go? What would you say then is when you've got the feedback from people telling you already that they're enjoying reading the book, and they're starting to get some life from it as well, just taking part in some of the stuff. So so start off with, we're going to take a bit of a break for ourselves. We're going to maybe buy the book and read it. That would be a
really good one.
a good start, wouldn't it?
One of my friends keeps saying, go to chapter 6 of the book and read it. It's like,
okay, so I'm just going to have a wee quick look because I can't remember what was chapter 6. So creating change, absolutely creating change.
Yeah.
So clutter clearing, yes, I think that might be that might be my task for today. Yeah. It's funny though, with clutter, how much it can drain your energy.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't think about how much stuff we hold on to, or even on our computers, how many files we have on our computer that just sit there forever and ever and ever, and we never think about actually clearing it.
Yeah.
But I had one of my teachers that I had who said to me, well, all of us in the class, how can you bring anything new in if you are still holding on to what you already have?
Yeah.
And is it serving you? Well, no, probably not. So just even starting that whole process of going through each room and looking at what you really need and what you don't, because we do hold on to stuff. Oh, and it is stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm a terrible hoarder, I must admit. It's just and I'm looking at it, oh my goodness. And when you start to clear out things, you think, why on earth am I holding on to this? I mean, the things in this are broken, or just, or they're almost really beyond usefulness. But you hold it back just in case it might be handy for something. Why? So, and I suppose the minds are like that as well, isn't it? We hold on to all these beliefs about things, and our the hurts and the past experiences, and when you've got all of that clabbering around in there, how are you ever going to create some space, like you say, to deal with the stuff that you have to deal with, and just feel lighter and feel happier in your day?
It's so true. It is so true. That's why shifting every 2 years or so is really good, because you think, no, I'm not going to be taking that with me. But And it's the other thing, you don't think about the thoughts in your head or your beliefs, your core beliefs, and are they really true, and being able to look at all of that sometimes and challenge that. And that's another chapter in the book, which could be quite confronting at times, but I think if you're prepared to take that on and have a look at the little exercises there, it honestly lightens you. It just helps you look at things in a much more positive light and go, wow, no, I don't have to be like that anymore. I don't have to believe that, because really when I look at it, it's not true.
Yeah, yeah. And I think when people maybe first start to kind of explore some of this, and they realise that they can actually change what they believe, and how that can have such an impact on how their life feels for them. That and I love the way that you've put the stuff together in the book, because it takes you through that journey in a very I don't mean simple in terms of, because I suppose it is a simple steps, easy to follow steps that make it easier for someone to kind of go through that process.
Absolutely. It's not written in a textbook form, because that can be quite difficult and people won't want to even try. So if you go to reach them, put it in something that they're going to be able to manage and go, well, yeah, I'll give this a go. I'll try this because this may help me do that. And then they think, oh, yes, well, that works. So let me have a go at the next bit, rather than saying, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not.
Yeah.
So,
and, when someone thinks that if you want to make a change in your life, and you're sitting there just now, and if there's anybody sitting there watching it just now thinking that their life feels overwhelmed, they're in overwhelmed, got lots of stuff going on, they want things to be different, but they don't know how it's going to happen. And that's often the thing that I found speaking to people, that where it stops them from going forward, because they don't know how they're going to do all of the steps. Because we kind of get taught as we're kind of growing up and going through school and things that you have to plan out every step of that project and know all the steps that are going to take place, so you know how you're going to get to the end part. And if it's about you and your life and changing something, you don't know how to do it, it becomes overwhelming. Well, there's no point in me trying to do it, and I don't know how. And that's where you can help with this.
Yes, absolutely. And life can become really overwhelming, and it's like I often think people forget that they can break the whole thing down, that they can just choose one thing and whatever is, because I'm very good at doing lists, so it's a bit, I will just say to them, write out a list of the things that are bothering you at the moment. And on the other side of your list, if you fold your piece of paper in half, put the top one. Just choose one and then work on that one. Don't go trying to look at the whole lot of everything, because that really you give up then, because it is overwhelming.
So we've given people just some wee tasters, I think, of some of the tools that are in that book, just to kind of get them started. And like I say, when you've made one step and recognise that one thing starts to work, you're then in a different place to look at the next stage of your life. Yeah, isn't it? And that's the thing, is that people think, that they have to figure it all out from here. But if you take one step, the next time you start to do the next bit, you're in a different place. So
absolutely are. You're one step forward.
Yeah.
Not still stationary.
And life's not always like just straightforward steps. We do forward, back,
Or one forward and three back.
Yeah, and with all of it, so I suppose it's a bit like you're saying, the journey that you experienced writing the book and putting it out there. It wasn't all straightforward. And, just go, I'll write the book. Here's the plan. I'll start from here. I'll go to there, and that's it. It's all works. It evolves and changes, and like I said, you come back a bit, go forward a bit, get stuck. Use some of your own techniques, clear some stuff, go forward again, and I suppose that's life, isn't it? So
it is, and isn't it so much more about the journey, not the destination, and really enjoy the place that you're in right now, rather than trying to get to the end.
So if there's any other, so I suppose, have you got advice to anybody else who's maybe sitting out there just now thinking that they would like to maybe write or create a book for themselves as well, having been through, because you've got two books. I mean, you've got you've written a book before this one. So what advice would you give to other people out there who are thinking about maybe they'd like to try this too?
I just think if you've got an idea that's there, if you've got an idea that's hovering around in your head, it depends, isn't it? It's like some people will just go, okay, I need to go do this and I need to go to work. So you do need to be disciplined, and you do need to have no distractions, because if I can't, when I'm in a space, I have to be in a space. I always remember Louise Hayes saying, and when I wrote, I was in my pajamas, and when anybody ever came to the door and saw me in my pajamas, they'd go away, because they knew that was my writing time. Sit down and write it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just write it down. Just get to, even if it's 1 hour a day, just sit down and write it, because you'll find that, I think, once you have that idea and it's there, it will just flow anyway. If you have a block, put it away, go for a walk and come back. I just think there's a book in everyone. It's whether you or not, you have it, but let those ideas flow through, because do you know what? They may really benefit somebody out there. They really might change somebody's life, because that's what I wanted it. I wanted it to help people move forward.
Yeah. And that's for me is the beauty of books, that just that somebody else who might never have the chance to meet you, or work with you, but they can read your book no matter where they are in the world, and you've got and that could really be their lifeline. It could be the thing that really helps them, just kind of take that leap forward and feel better in their lives. And then, like I said, they then pay it forward, pass it on to somebody else, and it just has it's those ripples in the pond, isn't it? That it's just starts to, and you don't know where they're going to go.
It's so true. So true.
Like the conversations that we have sometimes, just like you never quite know where they're going to go.
No, you know, in all sorts of different places.
So I know that one of the things that you love to do are kind of vision boards or treasure maps. I know that you sometimes refer to them. So can you explain to us, what it is for anybody who's never kind of come across this idea, and how you use them?
Treasure maps have been used for a long, long time in many, many different cultures when they are starting something new. If it's like a new journey, a new book, a new project, something that there's just something that they're going to be starting in their life. And it's a way of putting your thoughts, your goals down on either paper. I usually do it on paper because I find that that's much more creative and much more fun, and you can, it's like just letting that creativity just run wild, but in a way that you can, I think, plan out. In a way, somebody said to me, it's a bit like having a business plan. Well, I thought much more fun than a business plan. It's maybe, for me, well, let's just say it's around a book and what I want to achieve from the book, what I hope to gain from it, because it's really looking at what you're wanting in the next year or next 5 years or wherever you're wanting to go with this. So before I usually sit down and I'll have a bit of a think about it, but I usually go into meditation, and I find that in that space, I can then just be a lot clearer about what I am really wanting to achieve and what I am really wanting to have happen with the book. And I always used to say to my students, you get a piece of cardboard that any colour that you want, you can be as creative as you want. You get magazines and you cut out pictures and you stick things on your board, but it's such a wonderful time. It's something you can sit down after reading the book and thinking, oh, that was a lot of work. But actually doing your treasure map or your vision board is just fun. It's just a fun way of doing it. So I always used to say to the students, when you have actually managed to do one of the things on the board, just give it a tick, you've done it. Just, it's like a pat on the back. I've actually managed to achieve that goal.
Yep.
So it's just a fun way, I suppose, of looking at your goals.
Yeah.
And whatever you're wanting to have happen. But it is too a way, I think, of bringing your thoughts down on paper, which I think is really, really good.
Sorry, I've got Sinclair's, our techie guru sitting in the corner here, kind of coughing away. So,
Is he all right?
He's fine. So if you've got you've made a vision board recently for your book. So
Right.
can we see it? Can you let us see what you've done?
And I can just, if it's there, and you can.
Yeah, that's cool.
See it.
Yep.
Oops, sorry. But for me, really, it's just about, I think the whole book for me is basically, I don't even know whether you can see it there, but it's making a difference.
Yep.
So it really was about making a difference in people's lives. But from that, I would like it to actually be, I think sometimes you can be a bit way out there too. Just don't keep it all logical and linear. I think sometimes you just have to go, well, do you know what, this is what I want, and just put it out there. So I'd like it to be a bestseller.
Yeah.
And I'd actually like to make some money from it, but I'm being realistic too, but I really would like to be able to make some money from it. But I think the other thing too that we're thinking about doing is writing workshops based around the book, and that is the other thing that I know can get out there and help more people, I think, rather than maybe just the book. The other thing is travel with the book. That's a love thing that I really would like, because I want to come to Scotland, that.
Yes. You've definitely got to come to Scotland.
And a part of that is still within that space of what you want. It's looking at what you want. And I've got being passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Meditation is the other thing. Having a holiday would be quite nice. But
we can see you can combine that, the travel tour with the book and the holiday. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then having more time for me was having time to spend in the garden. And then I've got here living in a country cottage. They're still part of the things that you're wanting for your book within the time frame that you're actually, my time frame, say 5 years.
Yep.
They are some of the things I would really like to do. So it's looking at, okay, I've written this book. Where do I want to go with it? What do I want to have happen with it?
Yep.
How am I going to make that happen? Well, it would be through the workshops. But just making it really colourful, because I've got the flowers, you've got your stickers on it.
Yeah.
Not of flowers there.
Yeah, but that's you've now got, rather than just a list of what you might want to achieve in words, you've now got a visual picture that looks really good. And what would you normally do with that? Would you place it somewhere that you can see it regularly?
I do. I have it in the office where I tend to write and spend most of my day when I'm not with clients. I have it up so that every morning I can come in, and it's a bit like an affirmation. I will sit and look at it and go, this book is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
It is going to be a bestseller. So it's a bit like the affirmations that you would say. You look at it every day and you go, yes, this is what I want to achieve.
Yeah. And I think the thing about that, whenever I've done kind of vision boards, is that they also they create an energy amongst themselves, really, don't they? It's just, so you've put the thought out there, you've put your energy into creating that visual image of it, but it also then just starts to, if you use the whole law of attraction type thing, it starts to draw things to you. So opportunities start to appear that you might just never necessarily have been aware of before. You wouldn't have been in your field of vision, if you like. So
and once that starts rolling, you just don't know the opportunities and things that really do just come in a way, searching for you, not you having to go out and look for them. So it is like the law of attraction, absolutely.
So, and I suppose that's the thing. So when we've talked about it here for your book, and really for any of our other authors who might be interested in kind of trying to maybe create a vision board for themselves for their book and their vision of what they would like to achieve, you know, just go out there, have some fun with it, isn't it? You know, just
that's the whole thing. It was like I went down to the little shop that we've got here and trying to find stickers and things. Honestly, that was probably about the happiest half hour I had for a long time. Choosing the colour of the cardboard and all the stickers I could find. And it is, just have fun with it.
Yeah, because it's play. And that's something that, you know, often as adults, we kind of forget to play, you know, so we kind of lose that, you know, oh no, we've got to be serious. As you were saying, you know, business plans are supposed to be serious and, you know, written and bound and kind of like bound in print. And you're like, no, it's just that. As writers, you're creative people. So, you know, so you be creative and have some fun with this process as well. So thank you for sharing your vision board. I think we'll be encouraging all our authors in boot camp certainly to kind of get on board and get theirs done. And anybody else who kind of gets a chance to watch this, you know, go out there and produce a video. You can do your vision board. You can do it in video. You can use online things as well. There's so many, you know, Pinterest was one of the online kind of resources, I suppose, of social media that was there really kind of creating vision boards online. But it'd be lovely to get feedback from people if they actually go and do it as well, just to see what they produce, wouldn't it? So
it would be. That'd be fun.
So we'll have a day of kind of like come back and share your vision board, your treasure map with us. Let us see what you've done.
Yeah.
So Judith, how can people get hold of your book, and how can they contact you if they've got any questions or if they want to kind of speak to you?
They can. My book's available from my website, www.judithtehuia.com. It's also available on Amazon. It's UK,
.co.uk. Yep.
Yeah. It's available on Amazon Books Kindle, so it can be downloaded from there. We have some shops here in Victoria that it's now available in Collins Bookshop here in Sunbury, and our Little Angel Realms shop in Water Gardens here. But now my friend Audrey, who is just on her visit overseas, actually has it in Glastonbury, and one of the bookshops. Yeah, they have taken it on, so it is available there. It's just going around the world actually.
Fantastic! There you go. At least you said it's the book's on its travels. You just need to catch up with it.
I kept thinking the book's gone further than I have.
I love it. I love how it's just, like I say, it's taken a life of its own. But it's got, you know, you've got help and you've got the momentum behind it to kind of get, you know, to get things moving. Because the reality is, you know, if you just sat back and thought about, I'd quite like to do this book, maybe even created a vision board, but done nothing else with it, it wouldn't quite have happened, you know. So you know, it needs that momentum too.
You do. You absolutely do. You need the incentive, the momentum, and you need support. I think that they are the things you really, really need. And then to find some really good publishers who make you feel welcome when you chat on Skype. You're stuck and wondering where to go next, who can actually support you. And that's the part that I found that was so beneficial after my last experience, that actually having you there and Sinclair there has just helped so much.
Thank you.
You know, it would have been is such a wonderful experience if you hadn't been there. So thank you very much for that.
Well, you're very welcome. And it's the joy for us, really, about, you know, we talked about indie authors being an accidental business, and the beauty of it has been working with people like yourself, Judith, you know, just where it's not, you know, it becomes a personal, you know, connection, and really seeing the difference. You know, you said you want your book to make a difference. That's the bit for us with helping you to get your book out there. We know that we're making a difference. because we're helping you to kind of get out there and make a difference. It's great. It's great fun. And yeah, I love the fact that we can do these Skype chats type thing and have a laugh with it. That's always good.
It is.
If anybody wants to contact you, I mean, on social media, where do we find you?
Oh yes, I'm sorry, I forgot that part. I'm on Facebook, so that's Judith Te Huia on Facebook and on Twitter. Where else am I? LinkedIn. I'm trying to think of.
We'll search your name and we'll find you.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure you will. I'm not sure that there are too many others out there with that Te Huia name. So, well, yeah. Not just Te Huia anyway. So, I'm sure you'll find me.
I'm sure we'll find you, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you today. Good luck with the book. I'm sure it is going to do really well, and you are making a difference already with it. We know that the feedback that you're getting, which is that you are making a difference in helping people. So that's fantastic, and we'll look forward to the next stage of the journey and the next bit of the vision board. And we'll be encouraging everybody else that's out there, go and create a vision board for yourself, and and definitely come and read the book, isn't it? Come back, read the book, and let you know what they think about it. So,
and that would be brilliant. And thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Okay, well, thanks a lot then, Judith, and we will be in touch soon. So, thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.